Hey there, Heather, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Degrassi video. Normally, I don't do Degrassi videos nowadays because I have basically used up my Degrassi resources doing Cutter's Degrassi Unpopular Opinions, doing a lot of Degrassisms, and, doing series years ago. Of course, this is 2024 when ideas have kind of dried up. I know that I'm planning to do a big thing about the 20th anniversary of the episode Time Stand Still. Well, part 2 of Time Stand Still. I could also do something on Time Stand Still Part 1, the 20th anniversary on that date, though, too. But of course, that has to wait a few months because it's not October yet. And in Canada, Time Stand Still was in October of 2004, not November like the Americans. But anyway, this Degrassism is based off of a Reddit post by one EffectiveRoyal9453 on Degrassi Reddit. Effective Royal, probably a female by my guess, did throughout a few weeks, the past few weeks, having tables and say which kids belong at a table. So a table with 5 characters in it. They put a Queen Bee table, a Cool Kids table, a Jocks table, a Type A table, a Feeder Kids table, a Geeks table, a Stoners table, a Loners table, a Class Clown table, a Band/Choir Kids table, a Preppy Kids table, and Goth/Emo table. So that is 12 tables with 5 characters each. I will go through each table and say my top 5. Like my ranking of who I think, in my opinion, is number 1 at each table, and give reasons why, and try to be as fast as I can because I tend to overthink things. But anyway, so let's go at it. Our first category are the Queen Bees, basically the girls who want to run the school and all that. There is one main difference. I look at the 5 people that was picked for the Queen Bee table, and there's one massive omission. Well, it's a massive omission because she never appeared on the show. She was just an unseen character, and that's Heather Sinclair. I think she was trying to be the Queen Bee of Degrassi, competing with Paige. So anyway, here are the list of the top 5 Queen Bees, in my opinion. Number 5, I would go with Ali as a Queen Bee compared to the other 4. I mean, she was at Degrassi in the gifted program. Sav was embarrassed because, that was his sister. And tries to prevent her from doing things. Ali's home life is a lot different than her school life. Like, her school life, she tries to be popular and tries to be with boys and all that. At home, she's in a traditional Muslim household that the women are made to do stuff and the men are not really to do anything. So basically, Ali does a lot of stuff that she doesn't have to do, and basically sometimes gets off scot-free. But the fact is that, she uses her persona to be a Queen Bee to get past her home life. Now, her home life did get better. I mean, her family did loosen up a bit. Number 4, I will go with Queen Bee. I'm going to go with Manny. In a sense, Manny doesn't completely fit the Queen Bee table, the Queen Bee form. Sure, she does in most regards, but not completely. Like, I don't think that Manny's a complete Queen Bee compared to the top 3. Like, she wanted to be hot. In season 3, she learns from Paige, who is of course a Queen Bee, that Sully is interested in her. So she basically decides to want to be hot, not cute. Emma has her reservations about it, but Manny says everything will be fine. And sometimes she just uses popularity and all that to try to get boys to notice her and all that. She did have an awful home life in a sense too, because her father was demanding. Not unreasonable, but demanding in a sense, and her mother was submissive. But yeah, Manny wanted to run the school and wanted guys to notice her and all that. She had a little bit of problems. I will go with Zoe at number 3. It's a tough call for it, but I think Zoe at number 3 was not as much of a queen bee as Paige or Holly. So I'm going to go Zoe number 3. And she was popular. She was once an actress on a TV show, and she wanted to run the table, and her mother wanted her to get famous and all that. She was basically a stage mom, if you will. But Zoe, her biggest queen bee moment was season 14. Season 13, she got raped by Luke and Neil, and then, basically lost her powers and all that. But then season 14, she does the Degrassi nudes thing. She's the head cheerleader and all that. She wants the cheerleaders to post pictures of themselves so that they can raise money for new cheerleading equipment and all that. Of course, it all goes for shit in a sense, and she basically is pushing people to do it, and then she's in a battle with Frankie over the blame of the whole Degrassi nudes situation. A lot of people, I think, would agree with me saying that Zoe being in this position of power was a make-do for herself, trying to get back her personal identity because of her being deflowered, if you will. Zoe didn't escape scot-free. She had to serve community service and all that. I thought that was the punishment, but her lawyer said it would make the judge go easier on her. Zoe seemed to not really get much punishment after that. And, she wanted to be popular and all that. She stopped being a queen bee or so towards next class, in a sense, once her mother just basically kicks her out for being gay and for not getting roles, making her have to marry a sugar daddy. For number 2 for queen bee, I'm gonna go with Paige. Tough as it is, I think Holly J was the better queen bee than Paige. I think it will be Holly J for sure, number 1, but Paige number 2. Yeah, she was basically calling everyone hun and running the school and, sassy and all that. She was empowering. Unfortunately, though, she got raped in season 2 by Dean, and it was not resolved till season 4 in the worst way possible when Dean gets off scot-free, but of course, lack of evidence and all that crap ruined Paige. I'm sorry, but that's the way it goes. But yeah, she was just trying to run the school and all that. She would have her wars with Heather Sinclair, Heather Sinclair, and practically, Paige is not the ultimate queen bee because she did have some class, she did have some sympathy towards people and all that. And she used her queen bee status to try to destroy Rick in season 4. But the fact of the matter is that, Rick kind of did deserve it, in a sense. But yeah, Paige had her reasons to do stuff. And number 1 for queen bee is Holly J, trying to, step into her sister's role. I mean, Holly J stepped out of her sister's shadow by going to Lakehurst, but then when that burned down, she had to go to Degrassi, and she learned about her sister in a sense. I don't remember how many, if any, characters basically said that, she's just as bad as Heather, or Heather's better than you, and that's saying something. I would. But yeah, Holly J was an A-type, more so. But yeah, she's designated as a queen bee, and she wanted to rule the school like her sister Heather did. She was manipulative, she was bossy, she was just under the spell of the Shep, getting all those powers thanks to the Shep. She was caring in a sense, but more so towards 10 and 11 when she lost her money, like her family was broke in a sense, and Holly J had to go get a kidney, and her birth mother said she can have one for $2,000, and Holly J's like, why? $2,000 because I need to recover from, or is it 20,000? Whatever. I have to recover for a while, and I lose my job. Like, Holly J is okay with it. Thankfully, Fiona saves the day. But yeah, so Holly J to me is the ultimate queen bee because of Heather's influence. On to table number 2, the cool kids, the kids that ooze machismo. We got 5 kids there. Hazel, Marisol, Jimmy, Spinner, and Marco for the cool kids. Let's see. I'm going to go Marisol number 5 on it. Marisol to me, well, I'm a little biased because I haven't really watched Degrassi from seasons 9 to 13 that much, but Marisol was in it for those years. And, she was a decent character and all that. Unfortunately, she's the one that Casey cheated on Janet with. Casey wanted to be with Marisol. It seemed that Marisol had the powers and all that. But to me, I feel that Marisol just had some problems. Number 4 is Hazel. And before you get too far into the narrative that I'm picking the characters of color low on the list, technically, no. Hazel to me was actually, it's based off the fact that Hazel wasn't really featured much. Yeah, she was in the first 5 seasons and basically vanished without a trace by season 6. But I think to me, Hazel was more of a follower, if you will. She was a cool kid. She had her moments. Heck, she had the first major plot line by a secondary character in season 2 in the episode, like the International Culture Day. And Hazel is part of the fashion police with Paige and Terry, and then gives Fariza a ticket for her hijab. Hazel tries to hide her Somalian heritage, but finds she can't at the end, so she gives a presentation to the media immersion class, and thank goodness that Hazel got praised and all that. I can't remember the episode. Oh, Don't Believe the Hype. There we go. Yeah, Don't Believe the Hype was a pretty good episode. I did a unpopular opinion saying that it was criminally underrated, that episode. So yeah, Hazel was okay, but she was more of a follower in a sense, so unfortunately she loses points for that. Number 3 is Marco. It's not because of his homosexuality and all that. I think that Marco to me was a pretty good character, had weaknesses and all that were harsh. But all I gotta say about Marco is that he's a great character, and helped Degrassi learn about homosexuality and all that. His storylines were done quite well, and people gravitated towards him and all that. But Marco seemed to have the lost gay guy thing, but like the next few seasons, like even in college, it's like his storylines were not really that great. Number 2 for me is Jimmy. I feel bad. I gotta put Jimmy at number 2, not number 1, but the fact of the matter is that he didn't last as long as Spinner did. So Jimmy, to me, was the stereotypical jock and all that. He had a lot of stereotypical stuff in him. Unfortunately, the writers put that. But yeah, Jimmy was a full of confidence and bright guy and had the on again, off again friendship with Spinner. And of course, we all know about Jimmy being shot in season 4 because of Spinner and Jay blaming things on Jimmy, trying to get the heat off themselves. Not knowing Rick had a gun, but still, Jimmy got shot. And then he came back 3 months later for rehab and did okay, and then was a central figure in season 5 in the forgiveness plot of Spinner. Like, how were we supposed to know Jimmy was going to be? Well, Aubrey Graham was, who was Jimmy, was going to be Drake, the mega god of rap. And number 1 is Spinner for sure. A lot of people say Spinner is one of the best characters around. I agree. I totally agree. But the fact of the matter is that, Spinner was more of a bully in a sense. But, he used machismo. But it seemed like his hairstyle would change year after year and become more prickish. Prickly, I mean. So for Spinner being a cool kid, it was all about fitting in and all that. Spinner did not have the best home life himself, but yeah, he was just trying to fit in. Unfortunately, season 4 was his downfall because he decided to join in the cause to destroy Rick. Well, Spinner had a reason to because, Spinner and Paige found a bloody Terry after Rick accidentally put her head on a rock. But then he ends up being with Jay and Alex being the last true bullies of the Rick situation. And Spinner bragged about the paint and feathers to Jimmy, which saw Spinner realize he made a mistake and Jimmy's going to narc on him. So that's why Jay helped him out, quote unquote. All that. Spinner was just all about popularity and all that. And people found him quite cute. I didn't. Well, I'm a guy, but still. Anyway, let's move on. And now it's time for Rock, Jock, Jayhawk. The jocks, the so called athletes. You see the five of them? How do I rank them based on their athletic prowess? Um, that's hard to press. Like, I'm ranking them based off of being a jock and all that, and how popular they are. I'm gonna go with Owen at number 5. It's a little bit biased because, as I said, I didn't really watch Degrassi from 9 to 14. So basically, Owen, I think, was kind of a jerk as an athlete and all that, especially towards Riley because of Riley's sexuality and all that. And it was kind of condescending to Owen because it's like Owen has a brother, Tristan, who's actually gay. So why was Owen such a prick when he had a gay brother? But I guess, he protects his own, but he just doesn't protect anyone else. Um, I'm gonna go with Drew at number 4. In like with a jocks style. I think Drew, yeah, he was a football star at his old school, and then came to Degrassi. He wanted to be quarterback, and it seemed that Drew. Well, Drew was hazed, and Simpson didn't do anything about it. Drew, right, and Audra took Simpson to task, like she should have. I understand, but it seemed like Drew at times was just basically there, and Audra had the mother bear philosophy with Drew, and Drew seemed to get away with everything and all that, and people hated Drew for that. Drew said that he didn't get Riley in trouble because of his homosexuality. He just wanted the QB1 job so badly. Drew had a lot of problems. He had, I think, a couple of concussions, and it turned him into a weird person and all that. Drew, of course, being a weird person by dating Becky, who dated Adam, his brother. Like, ugh. Drew just had nothing much. He was student council president, and he defied Pill in season 14 after being told he can't go to prom because of him ruining the no affection policy. He throws the party at the prom at the dot because of a bad boat booking, and basically Pill takes him to task with it. But the seniors hear about it and want Drew to cross the stage, and Pill relents. Pill probably lost her job partially because of that. Number 3 for me, for being a jock, I'm going to go with Riley. I'm sorry, but Riley being a jock was overshadowed by his homosexuality thing. And, it was like, oh, it's been done before with Marco. But no, Riley was struggling with his homosexuality in a sense that, he didn't want to hurt his mother's feelings. I get it. And, I know Marco also had that too. And there was like elements, oh, it's been done before. But yeah, Riley was a decent athlete and all that who was attracted to Zane. And, he was struggling to come out of the closet and all that. Jane is number 2 for the jocks. I mean, Jane decided to be on the football team because she played rugby, and girls rugby is popular. I mean, I went to Waterloo Oxford Secondary School in Baden, and that's when the girls rugby team was pretty good. And Jane says it's no different. She becomes the kicker. Everyone picks on her. Coach Shep doesn't really help matters until she's a hero, and then he turns around. What a dumbass. But yeah, Jane had basically more with her jock stuff. It's like Jane gets harassed. Where's Spinner of all people? But then Jane has the molestation storyline because of her father molesting her and all that, which is very sickening and all that. The good news is that it brought Lucas to be a better person, but then the next episode, bam, he's gone. Jane was a good character. If only she had not cheated on Declan. I mean, on Spinner with Declan. And number 1 is Dallas. It's not because it's Hawk. He was star of the hockey team, and I'm Canadian, and hockey is our sport. No, and it's not because of his color. It's because Dallas, as a jock, had a good storyline. Him and his ice hounds were basically hounding Cam, pun kind of intended, to do well for hockey and all that. And Cam just didn't want to do that. Cam just wanted to be with Maya. And Dallas, breaking down over Cam's suicide, realizing it's his fault and all that. and almost jumps off the roof, but Fiona saves his butt and says, "You have something to live for," which is Dallas's son, Rocky. Dallas became a good character. He dated Allie. He dated a few other people. It was a good relationship. And Dallas did the right thing by admitting his faults and becoming a good friend to everyone, like it or not. Next is the type A, the characters that basically go hard and basically piss people off with their tactics and all that. I'll be honest with you, there are some I'm concerned about type A, like neurotic, I guess you can kind of call it. I mean, yeah, Katie and Ashley to me are the low end. So Katie's number 5, Ashley's number 4. Katie just didn't seem like a type A to me. But then again, as I said, I didn't really watch 9 to 13, so I don't know much. So it's a bias thing. But I think Katie to me, her drive was to make the Canadian women's soccer team and all that. Lots of athletes do that. Lots of people try to be on an Olympic team and all that. And when she hurt her knee and took her mom's prescription medication and all that, she was trying to make something of herself. And that's understandable. But her substance use disorder, as people now call it, was just stupid. Ashley, to me, was a type A person when in season 1. She was going to be probably the breakout star of season 1 to me. And I thought Ashley was black for the longest time. But then saw the skin color, I'm like, it's lighting up. But of course, my TV was a little darker. All that. But yeah, but Ashley would have been better being black, in my opinion. But the fact of the matter is that the type A thing, she was a go getter and all that. She took, oh my God, ecstasy to try to get herself in a relationship with Jimmy. It didn't work out. And then she was made an outcast in season 2. I mean, Ashley was trying to apologize for everything, but Paige used her queen bee status and probably used her influence to make sure that Terry and Hazel didn't gravitate towards Ashley, making Ashley an emo chick and all that, and basically going goth and just saying to probably piss off Paige and all that. But yeah, she disappeared twice, and her storylines were terrible, so I can't give her that. Now let me think. Be neurotic. I'm gonna probably go. I hate doing this, but I'm gonna go. It's that Claire, Emma, and Liberty are too close to call for being type A, neurotic, and all that. I'll be honest with you. I can't decide. I'm gonna make it a 3-way tie for number 1 because I can't decide. Claire to me was type A because she had a weird home life too. Basically, she was made to try to avoid Darcy's footsteps by Darcy's problems at Degrassi. Claire had her parents basically divorced and all that, and she was always under the impression that God will keep the family together. She had a weird relationship with Eli, a couple of weird ones with Eli, and then basically told them, "Did you flip a switch and forget me, erase me from your memory?" Like, Claire, that's very neurotic and all that, and you're a drama queen. But then again, the writers gave Claire a lot of storylines. They gave her a cancer storyline, a inappropriate relationship with her boss, like her boss groping her storyline, a miscarriage, problems with Eli, being with Drew, and a few other things too. Oh yeah, the weak cult. Let's not forget about that. She was neurotic, and people hated her for that. Emma, type A, yes, not academically, but yeah, she was a bit of a pain in the butt, especially in the first 4 seasons. Well, three plus, I should say. Emma just stuck her nose where it didn't belong, and she thought she could fix people, but no. I feel like her relationships with Sean was just basically her trying to fix Sean and make him a perfect gentleman in a male version of My Fair Lady, if you will. Like trying to prevent Manny from going to Spirit Squad because cheerleaders are sexist. True, but Manny can make her own decisions. She had the she was the main cause of the rumor about Liberty being with Coach Armstrong. Although Emma was trying to confide in Manny, and then basically the gossips heard it and spread rumors, and basically they pinned everything on Emma. Emma took responsibility and told Radich that, it was not that way. Liberty got mad at Emma. And then, of course, season 2, when Emma was at her most triggered, when Snake dates her mom. I mean, why would you want a teacher dating your parent? Makes sense. But then she finally relents and lets them get married. Although that Spike wanted to abort baby Jack because she didn't want a second mistake. Big trigger on Emma, and Emma could not let it go and told Snake about it and almost ruined the wedding. But thankfully, she sees them get married and she's like, whew. And then you got yourself the fight for your right thing with Raditch in season 2. Neither side was right. Raditch had a fault because he was the adult and he didn't act like a proper adult. And Emma pushed the envelope a little too much herself. So there were no winners, only losers. But yeah, Emma was neurotic, especially with Manny in season 3, trying to prevent her from being sexualized. They break off as friends and all that. She does protect Manny from Craig's tongue lashing over an abortion, but Emma says if she wasn't my best friend, I'd be furious. But she can have her cake and eat it too. She can be anti-abortion, but also help her best friend out. And then she does the stupid thing in season 4 and wants to be popular and all that, wants a boy to like her. So she basically doesn't want Chris to be Liberty because it would be bad on Emma. How's that going to be bad on Emma? I ask of you. It doesn't make sense. Of course, she gets her friends taken away from her in a sense. She asked for it. She tries to go with Paige in the friend group, and that didn't work out so well. And then she was nearly shot by Rick. Fortunately, Sean saved her life, and Emma felt bad and wanted to be with Sean, but Sean fled for Wasaga. Emma had a bounce back relationship with Peter, which was wrong in a sense. She had an on again, off again friendship with Manny, and then the problems with Kelly. She was just neurotic in a different way after Rick had the gun at her. And Liberty, to me, is the classic example of type A. It might be unfortunate, it might be stereotypical, but yeah, Liberty was a go-getter. She did not want help. She thought she could fix everything and all that, especially in season 5 in the whole pregnancy thing. She said she's never had to ask for help and all that. And she basically forces JT to make something to try to help the situation. I mean, what does Liberty do? She just basically decides she should spend more time being academically gifted and also hiding her pregnancy than helping JT out the JT situation. JT does all he can, and Liberty basically chews him out for him for some strange reason. Liberty was just, well hated for her Napoleon complex, which was true in season 2 in the floor hockey thing. She becomes leader of the girls' floor hockey team and basically pushes them too far and all that, learning stuff from Napoleon. So if that's not type A, I don't know what is. And Liberty just was a type A person. That's all there is to it. So now we are into the theater kids part of the program in which, we talk about the theater kids. So yeah, basically actors and actresses and all that wanting to be it. Of the 5 of them, well, I can't really rank them based on theater styles because they're acting and all that. But yeah, it'll just be more personal, a personal top 5. I'm gonna go with Imogen at number 5. To me, is that she was kind of moody and all that. She was decent. She was a decent gay character in the later seasons of Degrassi before Next Class, like 11 to 14. But again, I didn't really see much of 11 to 14. I know she had the relationship with Fiona and all that. But other than that, she wasn't really memorable to me. Anyway, I'm going to put Fiona at number 4. Tough one, but I'm going to go Fiona number 4. She was okay. Like, she came from New York with her twin Declan. She was happy as can be. And then, you know, she wanted to be close to Declan because she didn't want to lose her twins' love when Declan was with Holly J. And Fiona was jealous of Declan and Holly J. So she decides to kiss Declan and cause a stir. And then she then, weirdly enough, after Bobby abuses her and she becomes an alcoholic in a sense, that Fiona logically, for some strange reason, decides to be into girls. Fair enough, because the guy tormented her. She wanted to switch sides. But then she finds an attraction to Holly J and is the one who gives Holly J $20,000 to give to Dawn, Holly's birth mother, to get the kidney. Probably as a gesture of good faith and all that. Number 3 to me is I'm going to go with Eli. It's kind of a weird move, but I think Eli, to me, well, he was more of a feeder guy, but I don't really rank it based on feeder stuff. I guess if you can go by feeder styles, it won't be Eli. But yeah, Eli was brooding, a decent boyfriend to Claire. Claire was sometimes bad towards Eli, but Eli had his moods and all that. Oh, he was diagnosed with being bipolar, and that could cause a lot of things. Let's not forget that Eli was the one who found Cam's gruesome body in Bittersweet Sympathy and got traumatized. But thanks to help from his father, Bullfrog, and also Snake, who could relate because he saw Chloe Tanner's dead body in the bathroom in Degrassi High, he was okay and all that. And he was the perfect guy for Claire in a sense. I'm going to go with Becky at number 2 because Becky was this straight up Christian girl that came from Florida because of her brother playing hockey, ice hockey, and all that. So yeah, so Becky was told to be in a perfect Christian relationship, to gay bash, and basically decide. Well, she had an attraction to Adam. The only problem was Adam was Gracie, transgender, and Becky had feelings for Adam and decided to go to conversion therapy. But then Jenna, I think, stops her from that. Becky was just perceived as this Christian goody goody and all that people just kind of have hatred for. It's kind of like Darcy in a sense. But Becky grew and realized her problems. And then let's not forget about the fact that she fingered her brother for a rape in season 13. Zoe's rape. She's the one who told the police everything. And her family just wanted her to say that she lied or she must have misspoke or something. But Becky didn't back down. She she turned her back on Luke. Well, Luke told her the thing in the first place as well. So let's not forget that Luke also was bad in a sense. But yet people don't talk to her about things and she feels left out and she feels like she shouldn't leave. I wish she did leave the family and all that because of that. It would have made sense. And then she decides to go with Drew in a relationship for some strange reason. And number 1 is Tristan. I know Tristan is hated by a lot of people, like the whole fan base and all that. But I can't hide the fact that, Tristan was kind of decent. But, people forget that Tristan used to be chubby and all that. Well, it was the actor in the fat suit. But still, like Tristan was trying to find love and all that, and lost weight and had a collapse and all that. And then Tristan was unbearable. He forced Maya to be his girlfriend so that Tristan can hide his homosexuality. He's upset when Maya tells on his relationship with Yates, saying it was inappropriate, which it was. Maya was trying to protect Tristan, but Tristan thought that Maya was just jealous or something like that because Tristan was linked to Miles. But no, Maya was doing it out of concern, and Tristan didn't see that and forced Maya to grovel to him. People actually cheered. I heard people were cheering for him when he was in a coma after the bus crash in next class. Kind of stupid. I mean, yeah, Tristan deserves some hate, but he doesn't deserve to be put in a coma. Like, that's just pure wrong. And it makes you look like the bad guy. But yeah, Tristan was a piece of garbage, but yeah, he's the better of the feeder kids. So sue me. All right, and this will be my last table for the first video because of how long it's going to be and, me rambling on. So let's just end this with the geeks table. And the geeks shall inherit the earth. It should be the meek inherits the earth, but whatever. So anyway, you got geeks who, they're smart people, but they basically get shafted on by the committee and all that. And these 5 are the best of the best for geeks. To be fair, there's two key number ones and two. Number one and two is easy, but the other three are not. I'm gonna go with Wesley at number 5 for geek. Is that Wesley was kind of the Toby of the second phase of Degrassi. Smart, got in some episodes, didn't really get a lot of key storylines and all that, and faded quickly. So I think that's my opinion of Wesley. He was decent, but not much character development, and basically he just disappeared. I'm going to go with Yale at number 4, and it's not because of the non-binary situation, which made her the first non-binary character in Degrassi history, doing that next class and, causing friction with Hunter, who wants Yale to identify as somebody. And, Hunter would have been 110% behind Yale, but Yale made it complicated, and Hunter just seemed angry. And of course, everyone thought that Hunter was homophobic. Not really. He just wanted to know the truth. And he liked girls. But nevertheless, Yale was kind of geek. She did do some great work in the Degrassi Student Council and all that. Number 3 is Winston. Winston had some good storylines. He was, I think, Miles's right-hand man for a while. And then he gravitated towards Frankie for some reason in season 14. There were a couple in a sense. And it was Winston who spilled Degrassi nudes to everybody because he wanted to get Frankie back on the cheerleading squad after being kicked out by Frankie. Not Frankie, it was Zoe. And everyone is mad at Winston and all that. Winston wanted to keep the relationship with Frankie going and did so. I instantly thought that Winston was given some perks by Pill in the aftermath of the whole Degrassi nudes thing because he's the one who told the police and all that. But, I don't think so. I don't think she would have been that careless. But yeah, Winston and Frankie have a good relationship until the summer movie in which Frankie falls for fellow intern instead of Winston, breaks up with Winston. They try again, but Winston just doesn't seem to have the chemistry with Frankie, and then he moves on to bigger and better things. Like accompanying Miles to Europe. For geeks, Toby or Connor? I'm going to go with Connor at number 2 because Connor, to me, actually was more prominent in his storylines and all that than Toby was. So I go with geeks. I go number 2 is Connor. Connor was introduced in season 8 as part of the gifted class. Snake says that's his godson and all that, and people were like, who made Snake the godfather of Connor? And people were looking around. They think he's Snake's brother and all that. The point is, maybe, one of his friends had a black child and all that. It could have been Bronco. It could have been Lucy. It could have been anybody. But regardless of that, you don't have to be related to be the godfather of a kid and all that. Maybe a friend and all that. So Connor's there. Connor exhibits some very suspicious behavior in season 8 and is kicked out of Degrassi. And then Snake says he's been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. As a fellow Aspie, I understand the problems with Connor and all that. But, Claire helps Connor get back into Degrassi and take Shep down a peg or two. Connor does do some awkward stuff, especially with raiding the girls' locker room and stealing clothes from them. He wanted to do a clothes app, which is fine, but like stealing the clothes from the locker room, that made him terrible and all that. And of course, the thing with Love Queen and the catfishing and the internet luring didn't help matters that Connor was just oblivious. You will be oblivious. But yeah, Connor got more prominence by being in an underrated relationship with Jenna. And it was a good relationship for both of them. Connor then goes, why does he go? Cambridge or something? I don't know where he goes to school and all that. But yeah, him and Jenna are a good couple and all that. And number 1 for me is definitely Toby for the geeks. Very memorable, but basically the writers didn't know much didn't do much with him, and he was just on the back burner. Season 1, he was a breakout star alongside Ashley, and we wanted to know more about Toby's home life, having parents who just can't stand each other and being in a nuclear family with Ashley. And then season 2 comes along. He's got some good storylines. He wants to be with Kendra, who was Spinner's adopted sister, but the problem was that Toby seemed to be smothering of Kendra. There is something to do with that. I think that Toby did that because he was scared that Kendra was going to break off with him. And, as someone who has divorced parents, you know, about relationships and all of that, he's just scared he's going to lose Kendra and then be all by himself. Of course, Kendra vanished by season 4, and basically the writers just had a bone to pick with Kendra. Why? I don't know. So Toby got that weight loss storyline for one episode. It very underrated, and shows that guys can also have weight issues and all that. But like Toby was just trying to be popular, like JT, he was jealous of JT being popular and all that. JT dumped him off as a friend a few times for Paige's clique, especially in season 4 when Toby gravitates more towards Rick and all that. People question Toby's relationship with Rick and all that, but Toby had nowhere to go. JT basically dumped him off for Liberty's brother Danny, and practically Toby just wanted to find a friend and thought he found a friend with Rick because they both like girls in a creepy way, Dungeons and Dragons, or dice games, and of course a lot of things. So Toby, of course, gets shafted for his relationship with Rick in the first place, and he feels conflicted what he has to do about it. And then, of course, season 5, he's kind of on the back burner. JT begs Toby for money, but Toby refuses to give him money, and JT says that's why you don't have friends. And then season 6, he loses JT as a friend because JT gets stabbed, and Toby, in a sense, tells JT to go after Liberty to talk to her, not realizing that Drake Lampley and Johnny DeMarco were going to stab him. And, Toby felt guilt about that. And of course, he was put on the back burner in season 7 and wasn't even in the opening credits. So if that isn't shocking, I don't know what it is. So anyway, thanks for watching part 1. Part 2 will be coming up soon enough. I'm Jeff Diamond, and do